Hey everybody, it's Queen Jelly and welcome to or welcome back to the Toy Box. If you're new here, we are a doll and toy themed YouTube channel. I do try to post at least once a week. Unfortunately in this past week I was unable to get some videos recorded because it was actually at a convention. I did actually record some footage while I was there. I haven't had the chance to sit down and edit it yet, so I don't know if I'll be able to actually post that video or not, but I did record some footage there with the intent of making a video coverage, but we'll see what ends up happening. I don't know how much is usable. The microphone that I bought wasn't as good a quality as I would have liked, so the audio wasn't really good, so we'll see if I'm able to do some like voiceovers or something. But anyway, I digress. That is not the point of today's video, but I will say that I am going to hopefully be back on track to posting at least once weekly, if not twice, just depending on how much I'm able to film and how many dolls I have at the time. Today's video is going to be a very special video. So we have our Fang Club Venus here, who's been waiting a little bit to get out of the box, but even longer has been waiting our Barbie Poison Ivy here. So I do have a lot to say about how long it took me to get this doll and the struggle bus I went through to get this doll, but they are here. And so before, obviously, we will look at everything. I like to do this in phases, so if you want to see particular parts, don't be afraid to skip around using the timestamps that are down below. First, we're going to go over kind of my story on how I got the dolls, anything like that. Then we're going to look at their boxes up close down here, and then we're going to take an even closer look to their boxes, and then of course open the dolls up on the desk. So of course, like I said, don't forget to use those sections down below if you want to skip around. If not, let's get going into the next part. So for Poison Ivy here, I ordered her on launch day. But I ordered her through Target because at the time Target had a sale that was like, if you spent X amount on, or I think it was just like a generic like 20% off toys coupon or something like that. Whatever it was, there was some sort of coupon, right? And so I ordered her, and I ordered two different Elphaba dolls for the pre-order, which I do have a video on my channel for the other Elphaba. However, the other Elphaba that I had to cancel is the one I still have not been able to find, which is the singing Elphaba. So I had ordered this doll, the standard Dancing Through Life Elphaba, and the singing Elphaba. Because of money reasons, I had to cancel the singing Elphaba. She just happened to be coming out of my bank account in a week that I didn't have the money for her. And then, like I said, we all kind of know what happened with the Wicked dolls, and this video isn't about them. But with Poison Ivy, I had her in my cart. I had her bought, paid, or well, not paid for, but they put the hold on my card, whatever. But I bought her from Target because she was on sale that way, right? And because I bought her and those two other dolls, I didn't have to pay for shipping or anything like that. So it was the best like price deal for her, right? Because I went through Walmart, I looked at Mattel, I looked at Target, like I did my research and found that Target was going to be the best price for her. Well, unfortunately, I sat and sat and sat, and Amazon had them. I think at one point they even had them on sale too. But I was waiting for my Target order to come in because I knew I had a Target order, and I sat and I kept confirming every week or so that I was okay with the delay. I was okay with the delay. I was okay with the delay over and over and over again. And then they finally canceled it. All of a sudden they were just like, you know what? Actually, we're never going to get these. So we'll just cancel it on you. And I'm like, that's fine. I just wish if you were going to do that, then you would have already done that, because then I would have already bought it from somewhere else. Because guess what? The second that happened, I'm sure I'm not the only one that it happened to. So the Amazon stock sold out. So everyone bought off all the Amazon stock. Then I checked Mattel, I think still had her in stock. Again, I don't know if they were still available on there or not, but at the time they are currently sold out on Mattel Creations. So I end up going actually through Walmart to buy mine. She was $54 instead of like the $55. So it wasn't really any like difference, but I didn't have to pay for shipping through Walmart because she was a $50 item, and I think their threshold is like $30 or $40. So that's why I went ahead and bought her through Walmart. So I've had her sitting waiting to get open since January 14th, 15th, something around there. But around that time we knew about Venus, and so I was kind of hoping to get them and open them around together, because I feel like they're kind of good pairing, especially at that time we didn't know exactly how much Venus was gonna kind of look like Poison Ivy. And I know a lot of people were kind of comparing them, like, in the comments and stuff, just saying, like, in general, that she kind of looked like Poison Ivy. So I was like, you know, I was already planning on filming them together, so I might as well. But yeah, so that's my story on her. I originally ordered her from Target. She got canceled. So then I ordered her from Walmart instead. And then she came no problem. But unfortunately I did have to pay full price for her instead of the sale price that I would have gotten on Target if, they had shipped her. But I'm sure that's probably why she ended up getting canceled, because I'm probably not the only one that bought her on that sale. So I'm happy for the people who did. I'm not, like, gonna be like that. Like, I'm happy for anyone who was able to get her through Target. I just wish that if Target was gonna cancel my order, they'd cancel it sooner, so I could have gotten her sooner. But it is what it is, and like I said, she's been sitting in a box waiting for me to open her anyway, so I guess what was really the rush. But yeah, super excited. Here's her a little bit closer up. I know my ring light's right there, but you can kind of see it. I really love this animation on the side. This artwork here is so stinking cute. And then here's a close-up of the doll on the back. And then we'll read this part when we get up to the desk. But yeah, super cute. She came in a pretty standard Mattel shipping box. Poison Ivy, it says on the outside. Nothing really too exciting. It's not the Mattel Creations box, so it's not, you know, anything special. And then here is Venus. So I don't really have too much to say with her as far as, like, ordering her. I ordered her on release day. She came super fast afterwards, because Mattel has gotten to the point where now they're not releasing them until they actually have the stock, like, in hand. So they're able to ship them out, like, almost right away, which has been really nice. I actually already have my Beetlejuice dolls in hand, which is crazy. That's actually going to be the next video. But yeah, I'm super excited about that. But came super fast. I just haven't had the time to sit down and actually, like, unbox her and, like, really look at her. But I'm super excited. I think she's really pretty. I know a lot of people were not a fan of the bodysuit, but I personally don't have anything against it. As I've said in my previous videos, I really think that the Fang Club dolls are just kind of more like, you know, little bit upgraded core dolls. So I don't really expect too much out of them. I don't expect them to be, like, super high-end like the other Skullectors. I do know before we hadn't really considered the Fan Club releases Skullector dolls, but they kind of have rebranded them as Skullector dolls. Because as a fandom, we kind of consider Skullector more like the movie-based ones, like the Beetlejuice ones I was talking about. Whereas the other ones are kind of considered more alumni dolls, and that's kind of how they have been listing them too. But technically anything that's a collector doll is a Skullector doll, kind of like how this is still considered a Barbie signature right there, even though it's not part of the Barbie signature collections directly. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? So Barbie signature is just anything that is a collector doll, and Skullector is anything that's a collector doll, as far as their current branding of these dolls. But yeah, there is her close-up. And again, we'll read the back when we get up to the desk. But yeah, super excited about her. I think she's really pretty. I love the piercings on her face. But again, we'll talk about that when we actually open her. Now, this is where it gets interesting. So, So I grabbed my Beetlejuice dolls here just to kind of show you the side of their box. So theirs just has the product code on it, so that the warehouse knows, like, which one it is when they're packaging it, or when they're putting on the label, like, they make sure they send out the right one using this product code. But this one doesn't even say their name on it at all. It really varies from doll to doll, because sometimes it will say which one it is, and then other times it'll just have this product code. However, Venus's, they were like, we really want them to know what's in here. We really want them to know what's in here. It has a contents, and then it has a silhouette of her, and then a little silhouette of I think it says Mattel Creations, but it's supposed to be, like, the indicator that it's a Fan Club doll, I think. But I just thought it was really funny that, like, I've never seen it this intently, like, we want them to see which one is in here. And then, to top that off, when you open it up, instead of, like, the, like, unboxing, dramatic unboxing or whatever it usually says underneath, it said, it has this Skullector symbol, because, again, they really want to rebrand these as Skullector dolls. So I just thought that was really interesting that hers was so different than the other ones that we've had before, where they were really, like, making sure that we knew that it was her in this box here. So I don't really think there's anything else to say down here. So let's go ahead and move up to the desk and get these girlies open. But while I'm taking care of that, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. As always, it really does help out the channel. We are so close to 900 followers. If we can reach 1,000 by the end of the year, I will be so happy. Like, I never really thought my channel was going to get anywhere at all, especially there was quite a bit of a lull for a while where I wasn't really getting any new followers or anything, and then all of a sudden my channel just kind of, not really, like, it's not like, you know, viral exploded, but like exploded for me, and like it's been great, and I really love having all of these new subscribers and like having all of you guys like comment and stuff. I really love talking to y'all. So please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Again, it really helps out the channel, and it really helps you out, because if you like the content, it'll help you to find us again. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and we're gonna get moved up to the desk before I keep rambling forever. Okay, so now we are up on the desk. I've decided to start with Poison Ivy, just because she's been in the box for a little bit longer. She's been waiting to come on out, so we'll go ahead and start with her. One of the things I'm noticing now that she's like sitting on a flat surface and I'm looking at her straight on is that her box is a little bit on an angle, right? I know it's kind of probably hard to see from that direction, but you see how it kind of like is a little bit like just slightly off. I'm pretty sure that's like, that doesn't look like squished. That looks like her box is kind of like slightly oddly shaped, and I think that's probably because of like the comic design. So I think that's a really neat touch. On the front here it says Barbie signature, Poison Ivy, DC Batman, 85 years. Yeah, Mattel, because 86 would be kind of a weird anniversary, but yeah, that's why they did these, was for the anniversary. And then, like I was saying, I really love this artwork on the side. It is so cute. And then here on the back is her print, her like an actual picture of the doll, and again at the top it says Poison Ivy, Batman, DC 85. And then we'll bring this a little bit closer. It says, call me Poison Ivy. I'm nature's fiercest defender. Chlorophyll flows through my veins, toxins leak from my lips, and I take over my as invasively as my vines. But every thorn has its rose, and secretly long for connections. I've always felt closer to my plants than humans, except for a select special few like Harls. Together, we're queens of crime, ready to take over the concrete jungle of Gotham City. Nature always wins. No more than 20,000 worldwide. Barbie.com. So speaking of that, because so she's mentioned there, so I will go ahead and say it. There was also a Harley Quinn that came out at the same time as her, and Harley Quinn sold out super fast. I am also a fan of Harley Quinn. Like, honestly, it's kind of like Spider-Man, like, who isn't? But I would say if I had to pick one of the DC, or specifically, I should say one of the Batman, like, femme villains, Poison Ivy is my favorite. I don't know, I've just always had a really good connection with Poison Ivy. And then here on the side is another like super cute animation of her and her little plant. I don't know if he has a name, I'm sorry, but he's super cute. And yeah, so I did, like I was trying to say, but I'm a little bit rambly, of course, as always, is that I did not even try for Harley. I always knew that I was going to go specifically for Poison Ivy, but I'm glad that I wasn't trying for Harley, because that was even more of a nightmare than it was to get Poison Ivy. So, but anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start getting her out of the box, because I don't really think there's anything else really to be said about it. Ivy is now out of the box. As has been the case lately with Mattel, she was actually pretty easy to unbox. Something that I really like that they do with their collector dolls now is they don't use rubber bands. Because as we all know, rubber bands do decay over time, and honestly kind of quickly. So what'll happen is that they leave those rubber bands in those unboxed dolls. They tend to dissolve or leave behind like a bit of like goo or whatever. So they've come up with these little plastic doohickeys that you just kind of have these holes and you stick this tab through it, and then it just kind of locks itself in place. So it's almost kind of like a little soft plastic zip tie in a sense. But the cool thing about these is that they actually, if you do it right, you can open them up and then close them back up. So if you're careful, if you really want to, you can rebox these dolls with the packaging. So that's what's nice is one, as far as some collectors do prefer their dolls in box, or some collectors like to rebox theirs. These are pretty good for that because one, they won't dissolve as quickly. They hopefully won't leave behind a gooey residue. Obviously, like, these are still kind of new, so I haven't really proven that they've tested the time, but I can tell that that's kind of the intent behind them. And also, again, they are reusable for resealing them in box. And then for her hair, it was held on with a red string, so it like blended right into her hair, which is really cool. Her buddy here is still rubber banded onto her hand, which is fine, but that's just something to note that may fall over time, but everything else was held on with those plastic ties instead of like rubber bands. She is quite tall, so she's almost too tall for the stand, which is kind of funny because, like, obviously, at least there's like a custom print here on the stand, so like, and like Barbie's been making tall dolls for a while now, so I can't believe they haven't come up with a tall stand to go with them. We'll go ahead and look at this really quick. So this is, certificate of authenticity. At least this is kind of on a cardstock. Like, I don't really care too much for these, but at least, again, this one's on a cardstock, so it does feel a little bit more official. And it says Barbie dolls certificate of Poison Ivy was created through the collaborative efforts of designers and artists at Mattel. Barbie signature gold label. Gold, again, the different labels are indicative of how many were made. And again, for the Poison Ivy, it was less than 20,000 worldwide, which I always find it interesting the way that they word it like that, where it's like less than 20,000, which means it doesn't mean that there necessarily is 20,000, but it just means that there's no more than 20,000. So there's not 20,001, but maybe there's only 10,099. We don't know. I just think it was always kind of interesting that they did it that way. And then for her pet / accessory, is going to be this little guy here in my hand once I get the rubber band off. Again, I'm sorry if they do have a name. I don't know what it is, but they are kind of a carnivorous plant. You can see their little teeth painted on there, and then a lot of molded on details in all of their leaves. And then they are sitting in this little pot with some brown soil and then a reddish pot. Obviously very simple, but at least it does have some coloration to it, so I do like that. Maybe they could have had like some more like reds in there or some other shades of green, but I think it's fine. I really like it. This vine over here is really cute. It has some bumpy textures on it, if you can kind of see that. Flat on the bottom so it can stand. There's not really much else to say about our plant there. And then, like I was saying, we do have a stand. So it is a clear back with a clear waist grip and then a black base that says Poison Ivy in the font for her name that kind of looks like it's made out of vines or ivy, or thorns. She's on a standard body. However, that still makes it even a little bit more ridiculous that she doesn't fit very well on her stand if this is a standard body, because here is the standard Barbie. This is the Target exclusive one that they did with Shoes the Jumpsuit from the movie, and as you can see, they, without their shoes on, are the same height. So This is a standard height Barbie body. This is one of the, I think she's a little bit of a more muscular one, if I understand correctly. I think they call this the superhero body, where they have a more muscular, like, build. But apparently they are the same height as a regular Barbie. Sorry, I was putting the shoes back on my other one. Her shoes are tall, but they're not that crazy tall that she shouldn't be able to fit on our stand. So it's kind of obnoxious. So I'm not going to, like, she does fit technically. However, I still think that she should fit better. But I guess that's just me. And it's kind of like a silly thing to be too concerned about. For the doll herself, though, she has this really long red hair. It does go to about mid-thigh. It's really soft. It feels very similar to the red that we have for, like, Sally or, like, the Harris Reed doll. It's that same kind of, like, color. It has a very slight wave to it. I don't know how much of that is intentional and how much of that is just box hair, but it is really pretty and fairly soft. It doesn't seem super cool to the touch, and the ends are a little knotty, but it does feel soft. So I'm not sure what type of hair it is, but if it's like poly or anything like that, it is well treated poly, but I don't think that it's poly. It's not super dry or anything, just a little bit messed up at the ends, again, from being in the box. But I'm always terrible with that. Then at her top, it looks like we have a kind of a small part line here. Because of this headpiece, I can't tell. I don't think it goes all the way back. I think it's just this bang here and then this bang here, and then the rest is rooted straight back. So it's just a partial part line, but it's kind of hard to tell. There might be a little bit further back. But as you can see, her headband is currently tacked on, and I'm going to be leaving it that way. I don't want to lose it. But there is also a rubber band going around it. It goes from her ear all the way to her other ear on this side here. So this is a separate earring, and then the headband, which you can see is this vine that goes all the way across. But then on this side, let's see, it is also a separate earring, but this one doesn't have the dangle. Is mine? It's supposed to have a dangle, isn't it? And mine's just missing. I found it. I think it may have been tangled up in her hair. So when I opened her out of the box, it fell. So just be aware and be careful, because as you can see, it is not connected all the way back around. That is just a loose dangle hanging on there. So just please be extra careful when you're opening up your doll. But as I was saying, we have her headband that goes all the way across here to here. And then we have these earrings that kind of almost blend into the headband, but are definitely a separate piece, that are these green roses with then these leaves dangling from them. And again, they just kind of hook on and off here at the back. So just, again, be really careful with those. But they are super cute. I do really like the dangle to them. And I like when they have the free-flowing dangle as opposed to the, like, molded on dangle where they're supposed to look like they can, like, move, but they don't. So I do appreciate that detail. And then for her eyebrows, they gave her this really cool leaf detail. I'm just trying to get a little bit, there we go, a little bit better focus on them. So it goes, her eyebrow is like the branch with then the leaves coming off of it. And then she has a few more leaf details in the corners of her eyes, as well as red eyeshadow and then gold in the corners. And she has kind of yellowy green eyes. And then, of course, a really gorgeous red lip, as we all know is pretty commonplace for Poison Ivy. And of course, she has her green skin. It is a little bit lighter than I was hoping. I was kind of actually hoping that she'd be the same shade as Elphaba, because I was almost hoping to do a body swap for them. But as you can see, Elphaba is definitely a lot darker than Poison Ivy. Now, with Elphaba wearing full-length clothes, it might still be something that's possible if you really wanted to, because I did want to kind of have a made-to-move Elphaba, which I will show you her articulation. It's not fully made to move, but it is a little bit closer. But I definitely I'm not going to body swap Galinda if there isn't a equivalent body swap for Elphaba, so they're just going to stay with their standard points of articulation for now. So it's supposed to be like a strapless leotard, but in order to, of course, help it stay up better, they gave her these plastic straps, but they are clear plastic, so they blend in pretty well. Obviously, like in this lighting, they kind of stick out a little bit more just because of the ring light kind of hitting them, but I do think they blend pretty well. It is a Velcro piece down here in the back. I'm going to open it though so we can see if those tights are attached or not. It does look like they are, because if they weren't, we would see the waistband up here. So I'm going to go with that this is one solid piece. But we do have the armbands are separate pieces. They are the same pattern as the leotard. We have a sewn detail here to make the cups, and then sewn details around the leg bands here, and of course stitching up the side. These are unhemmed edges here, but I do believe that they're cauterized, so they shouldn't fray, but they kind of are jagged to kind of make like leaf shapes. The same goes for around her leg areas here. It does go most of the way, but not all the way to the back, but that's fine because it allows for sitting better this way. At least the print is all the way around, because it would be really lame if it was just solid green on the back. She has on these gloves that go all the way up to halfway up her upper arm. So they're almost full length, but not quite. They're like, I think this would be considered upper length, but they are fingerless down here, and then again have those jagged edges at the top. And then she has a plastic wrist cuff with a gold bow and arrow. The bow and arrow has this nice little, obviously it's an arrow, so like they all kind of have almost that shape, but it is a little bit more defined. So it's a heart shape here at the end. And now it almost looks like, yeah, the bow and arrow can come off of the wrist cuff if you'd like. Currently they are rubber banded together, but that is a piece that can come separated from that wrist cuff. One thing I do want to point out, because somehow I always forget to do this, is point out her hands. She has a red nail polish on, which I think is really cute. I love that little extra detail there. And then if we go down here, we have the tights, which are a lighter green than the bodysuit, but they're still kind of a deep green, with a darker green leaf pattern on top of them. They do go all the way down solid into the toes. Again, I had the shoes off for the height comparison, but here is the heels. They are these green molded heels with lots of little details molded into them with all the vines. They have this little leaf kind of area that sticks up off the top. I think they're really pretty. So we're going to go over her articulation. So she has side to side and up and down articulation for the head. For the arms, it's going to be the up and down and all around. She has the double joints on her elbows and knees, but otherwise is not made to move. So as I was saying, she does have those double joints so she can all the way bend her arm up, and the wrist does flex and rotate. She does not have any sort of like chest or waist articulation. All this part here is solid, but then for her hips, it does go up and to the side all the way out. And then for her knees, again, we have that double joint so she can bend all the way down. But she does not have any sort of ankle articulation. That movement is just coming from the boot, but her foot is solid. So just her elbows and knees have the double points of articulation. So she is heavily posable, but not entirely posable. And as I was saying, she has the superhero style body. So she has the more muscular arms and thicker leg style that they have for the superhero body. I know that there's not a lot going on with this doll, and I know that's why a lot of people like kind of had a problem with her, and she wasn't like super popular, but in my opinion, like Poison Ivy does have a very simplistic design. So I mean, it's kind of hard to not have a simple doll when Poison Ivy already has a simple design, but that's kind of why I do like Poison Ivy, because she's very simple and recognizable. One thing I could see them doing is maybe some more definition on the bodysuit, maybe some like more 3D leaves. But other than that, I think her face is really amazing, and I think that kind of makes up for kind of a more lackluster outfit. But overall, I'm really enjoying her, other than the fact that she like hardly fits on her stand. But that's a stand issue and not a skill issue of the doll herself. So overall, I will give her an A+. She's exactly what I expected. She's what what I was getting into when I was paying for her. Okay, and now we have doll number 2. This is going to be our Monster High Skullector Venus. I don't think I mentioned specifically before, but she was $50 plus shipping. So they are roughly about the same price. However, if you are not already part of the fan club, there is an additional $10 that you would have to pay for the fan club in order to be able to get this Venus, because she is fan club exclusive. However, I've been a member of the fan club since day 1 of launch. I've renewed because it's only been 2 years, so I've renewed both times because the $10 upcharge is I thought was worth the price even the first year, but we actually didn't get as many perks as we were kind of prescribed to get the first year that it came out. But the second year, I feel like we really did get a good amount of I guess we're technically in our well, I've only had to renew it once, but calendar wise we're in our 3rd year, because this is our 3rd Skullector doll, because we get 1 a year for the fan club. We got our Operetta and Gulia. Gulia was the first one. Operetta was the second one, which I do have a video up for both of them on my channel. Operetta was actually opened pretty recently because I got her as part of the sale that they had at the end of the year, which I have a feeling this Venus is probably also going to go on sale at some point, because she's currently not sold out on Mattel Creations. She's still available, but I just really liked her, so I went ahead and bought her right away. Even though, like I said, I have a feeling like she's going to be on sale later on. But as far as the fan club, if nothing else, my fan club paid for itself when I was able to get my Beetlejuice collector dolls when a lot of other people haven't been able to get them. So I am very, very fortunate to be able to have gotten my Beetlejuice collector dolls, but I would not have been able to do that if I was not a member of the fan club. So I digress. We're getting off topic. The point is, this is a $50 doll, $60 if you are not already part of the fan club. It says Monster High Skullector up here. Then we have this big, nice open window here so we can see our doll if we decide to leave her in box, which honestly with her is an option. Obviously it's an option with all of them, but I'm just saying, like, she has a really nice box design in my personal opinion. I really like the greenhouse with all the Venus flytraps around it. It's really pretty. Down here it says Venus McFlytrap. And I do feel like this box, I think, is a little bit more elevated than the past 2 fan club dolls that we've had boxes. I really think hers is nice. We have this embossed vines here on the side with some flowers and more fly traps, and this is Monster High down here at the bottom. And then on the back it says Venus McFlytrap, go green or perish. Let's save the planet eco-punk style. Who? All natural loving monsters. What? Climate change rally. When? Midnight on Earth Day. Where? The Ghoulist greenhouse. Come dressed in rebel lurks. The world is my oyster. Question mark? Please, let's think bigger. The world is my greenhouse, and it's positively in bloom. We're talking pro-environment, anti-establishment, oasis deeply rooted in eco-advocacy. And what's more rebel than that? And after all, whatever we're talking about, my inner plant life or my daring style, I'm eco-punk ghoul through and through. It's like my passions are vines bursting out into a wild tangle, climbing up the walls, making statements, and reaching out, out, out. Amazing. And then here is the picture, of course, of the doll. And then it says Monster High Fang Club down here, which I don't know if the other 2 had a logo like this on it or not. I can't remember. And then we have another embossed image on this side, but I do like this little like heart leaf here that kind of looks like it's based out of spider webs as well. And then the very top of the box is also a window down to see her. Hi. And then we have a cute little mohawk skullette up here at the top. And I think, again, that's all that I have to say for her box. So we'll go ahead and get her open now. So I know that there is like a sea of negativity around this ghoulie. So like I wanted to put out some positive vibes for her because I personally really like her. However, I'm gonna be genuinely honest and come out and say I already have a major complaint. And it is not about the doll itself, but the stand that they gave with her. So right now I have her on my Frankenstein stand because it has a thicker waist clip. It has the monster waist clip because this and these go around the same spot of her body. Like, I don't know how you're supposed to put this clip on and then supposed to have her on this stand at the same time. It just doesn't fit because those go on the same place. Like, I guess like that, but I feel like it's gonna, I don't know. With the Ghoulia, they said her waist clip, her like bone piece, they didn't want to break it, so they gave her the wide waist clip. So I don't know why they didn't do the same thing for Venus. I mean, again, as you can see, like I've technically got it on there so she can fit it on there, but it feels like it's gonna like break it or warp it over time. So for right now, I'm just gonna put her on this monster stand instead. But as you can see, the bases are otherwise identical. They both have a clear stick. And then right now she has on the white clip waist, which actually I believe originally came with Ghoulia. And that Frankenstein originally came with the black clip that Ghoulia is wearing right now. But because his waistcoat covers up the clip, because I usually put his waistcoat like over his stand, you don't see it. Where on Ghoulia, the white would stick out a lot. So that's why I switched it for the black stand so that it blended in better. But again, you can see she has the the master clip so that it doesn't break the bones on the back here. It just sits on her hips instead of sitting around her waist. So again, I don't know why they didn't do that for Venus, but they didn't, and we're just gonna have to accept that fact. But that is a criticism that I have for her right off the bat. Anyway, she came with her certificate of authenticity that says it certifies that your Monster High Venus McFlytrap doll materialized through the collaborative efforts of designers and artists at Mattel, and then is signed by Annalise Lee. Again, it is a nice cardstock. Just put that over there with the other ones and probably never look at it again, to be honest. Sorry, that just kind of threw me off, and it's also like really late here. So I may actually have to just take a break and come back to her probably in the morning and finish up recording tomorrow. Again, just to be blatantly honest, just because I don't like it. It's a stand, like it's something that can be replaced. And I don't want that to flavor how I feel about the doll overall. So like I said, I'm going to take a breather and really think about it and then come back to this. But I can still talk about this really quick. For me, obviously I have my G3 Venus, but for me, this will be the first Generation 1 Venus that I've bought, like brand new. This other one was one that I found thrifting. I believe, I don't remember which one she is. I would have to look her up again, because I did look her up. I think she might be Core Venus, but I'm not 100% sure. But she came in some Equestria Girls clothes. So these are boots and a dress from 2 different Equestria Girls. But this is how I found her at the thrift store. So at least she has clothes, because I do have some like undressed Monster High dolls, but these are not her clothes. But they fit her so well that at first I thought that they had to be Monster High. But I was able to identify both of them as Equestria Girls using the some archives. But yeah, so this, as the only other Venus from Generation 1 that I have, is this thrifted one. And then this is my only like brand new experience with a Venus. So again, I do really want to actually like enjoy her. I think her design is beautiful. So I'm going to give myself that break and I will be back. For you, you won't notice the difference because I'm just going to edit it right into this. Okay, so now I'm back. I actually went ahead and posted on my Facebook groups that I'm part of for Monster High collectors, and asked around to see like what everyone else did with their stands, and I got 2 responses, one of which I have on her right now. So you can see that the waist clip kind of fits in between the 2 pieces here on her vines, which I think is probably the one that I'm going to stick with. I feel like this does fit the best. It doesn't mess up like how everything else fits on her. The other response I got was that people like, sorry, this was the easiest way for me to get it on her this way. Put it like up here, like over the top of the vine piece altogether. And I feel like when I do that, it kind of like, of course, when I do it for the video, it's not as bad. When I do it, it kind of messes up her like suit a lot. So I think I'm going to stick with putting it like in between the 2, the little gap here in the like rib cage piece. So just if any of y'all were also wondering the same thing that I was, that is how I've gotten the stand to kind of fit on her. But besides that, we will now actually go back to looking at the doll now that we've gotten the stand issue kind of figured out. Because yeah, getting that stand to fit was really important to me, because this piece right here, this big back piece, is like the main focus of this doll. And so if she couldn't wear this, like that would be really, really disappointing. So I'm glad that we were able to kind of figure out a way to get it to fit on her. I'm sure if I like fidgeted with it enough, I would have figured it out on my own. But it was really nice to have some people help me out with that so that it's not something I had to stress about and I could get back to enjoying her. But I do want to just take a quick look at this back piece with it off of her. So you can kind of see all these amazing details in the vine design. There are a lot of unpainted like flowers and stems and stuff here. But then we also have these painted flowers here that kind of have these little, let me zoom in a little bit so we can see better. Have these little mouths inside for the Venus flytrap mouths. And so they're these kind of like little monster plants, which are really cute. And the same thing on this side, and then all that detail that goes all the way up, making this big like wing like halo like piece. And there's also some vine designs back here, and of course all the way around her rib area. And then I really like this piece here. It's embroidery. The fact that like it's so small and thin is like crazy, especially because it's just like hanging here. It's not like embroidered onto something else. So I think that this is really crazy detail, especially as like someone who like works with things like sewing and like embroidery and stuff. Like, I don't know, I feel like this is like probably a lot of people don't like appreciate this as much as I think like it deserves, because like having all this like intricate detail and this like small little embroidery here, I think is really cool. But yeah, and I think it really adds to the like overall silhouette, how it like dangles like that. Anyway, I will see if I can like balance it on here. Probably not. I'll probably just lay it down so we can go ahead and take a look at the doll herself. So if we start at the top, she has this really cool braid here down the center. It very feels similar to like what you think of like when you think of like Nordic design, where they have like a lot of like crazy braids. So you have this really cool braid down the center, which I really enjoy how it pulls all the different colors. So you have the green, the black, and the pink, like all throughout it. And then it goes into a high pony here, which again has pink and black. And then underneath we see some layers of green. And then there's this full pink layer here, and there's some green and black being pulled into the sides. This hairstyle is really intricate. And again, like, that's the thing with this doll is I think a lot of the details is where we're seeing that, like, this hair is, like, great. Because, like, look at, like, Operetta's hair. It's just, like, pulled up in a high pony and, like, a victory roll, right? But, like, this is crazy. It like goes back and it pulls in and it pulls on the sides, and then you have this like really tight clean underneath. I don't know, I really that's a lot going on there. And there's a lot of different colors and stuff too, so I really appreciate her hair. And then for her face, we have a lot of piercings going on, which again, one of those things that I love when we get these adult collector dolls that kind of push those limits, because they are again adult collector dolls, so they can kind of go a little bit further than like your typical playline can. So of course she has her earrings, which let's take a closer look at. So they are silver earrings with a vine going up them, and then a little point down here. So it kind of looks like a little garden spike with some leaves coming off of it. And they are the same on both sides. And then she has a eyebrow piercing here in her very thin, very trendy eyebrows. And then she has these flowers on her cheeks. So we have this one here, it's green with a silver inside of it. And then this one is also green with silver inside of it. But I believe that this one over here is a little bit bigger than the one on this side, if you look at it. So like, because this only like goes right here. It doesn't cover up like the whole like wing and stuff, where this one covers the wing. So this one is a bit bigger. Personally, I kind of would have liked to see them be the same size, but I also understand because like in nature things aren't symmetrical, so I understand why the flowers are different sizes on both sides, because they want her to have a very like natural flowy look to her. So I understand it. But just my personal preference would have been for them to be the same size. And then we have under her eyes is this really pretty pink shadow, and then for her eyelashes they also made them kind of viney. So you have these like branches that stick up with little twigs off the side. And then this big eyeshadow piece kind of looks like a leaf to me. So see how the wing kind of makes the underside and then the eyebrow makes the top to kind of make this little like leaf design here, which I think is really pretty and really like subtle details to again add to the very natural look for her. And then we have her lips, of course, which have the fangs going up and down on her. And then she has these very prominent spikes on her cheeks, which, as far as I'm aware, are fully pegged in. So if you remove them, they would, of course, leave holes because they are not just glued on top. They are actually pegged in just like how you would with an earring. But I did also just notice that she also has a secondary cuff on this ear. So this earring is the same as the other one, as I said, but she does also have a cuff here on the earring. And if you're not aware, with Venus, she does have these leaf-shaped ears, so they're kind of little pointy ears, but then you can see the little vines inside of them as well. Just curious. Oh, yep. It's a 2024 head. That is because I'm sure because of the additional sculptings that they had to add to her for like the piercings, that she has technically a new face sculpt. I'm just kind of curious now though to put her next to the original Venus that I have, because I'm pretty sure for the most part that their head is mostly the same. It's like I said, they just kind of gave them a new sculpt just to kind of accommodate for the new piercings. So, but I could be wrong, but again, because I'm not super familiar, that's my only other Venus, but that's what it looks like to me. And then she has this collar here, which, let's see if we can look at it closer. It is a black choker with some black studs on it. This is for the punk part of her eco-punk, just like the piercings technically are. Then we have this mesh top, which I actually really like this piece. It is black mesh, and then has this pink ruffle here on the side, again, to be very like organic, very like flowery. And then she has the denim jumpsuit, which I know is very controversial. A lot of people do not like this piece. Mine is actually kind of a little lopsided, so like I'm not super fond of it either. However, I don't hate it as much as other people do. I like to think of it, in my head, the storyline is that this is recycled denim that she thrifted and then turned into a bodysuit, because I feel like that really fits into like her eco-punk. And I understand that they chose the denim because that's a look that like Core Venus has. Like, again, if you look at like the G3 Core Venus, she has these like denim shorts. Like, denim's kind of just a pattern that they've always kind of had for Venus. I don't know if like this was the best like application of it. Like, I'm not gonna lie and be like, oh, I think that this is so great, but I also don't think it deserves as much hate as it's received, because I think everything else on this doll is so phenomenal that I can kind of look past the bodysuit. I think it would have benefited from like a mini skirt or something, maybe, just to make it look a little bit fuller. But at the same time, like, the whole point is like this big back piece here, and so they really didn't want to put on too much when like the focus is this big like halo piece here. The other thing that I really like about her is these tights. I know, again, some people don't like them, but not everyone's gonna like everything. I don't think that these were as controversial as the bodysuit was. But these are green tights, and then on top of them is this really, really soft embroidery of vines that go all the way down. And I'm going to double check, but I do believe these go all the way down to her toes. So they are full tights, just like we saw on the Poison Ivy doll. But the difference between these is this is an actual embroidery, as opposed to on the Poison Ivy, it is just a print. And then we have these amazing, gorgeous greenhouse shoes. So if you look, there's all these like little details around them. I know it's really hard to see, but they are there, I promise. You can see all these like glass details, and then the idea is that the vine kind of outgrew the greenhouse. So you can see these are the doors. They pushed it open and then grew all the way up around her legs here. And then we have these big bright pink flowers painted on the front to kind of add some detail to that. But yeah, other than for personal reasons, I don't like the pointed toes, just because I don't personally like pointed toe shoes. Other than that, I think these shoes are absolutely stunning. Very Venus, very G1. Just a lot of little intricate details. And again, it tells a story. And then here we have the bottom of her shoes, which are just kind of viney treads. So the last thing I want to point out is that if you don't like this bodysuit, the nice thing is that all of these do appear to be separate pieces. So her top, tights, and bodysuit are all additional pieces. So therefore, if you want to change her, but you want to keep like either the tights or the top, it is very easy to do so, which is really nice, because sometimes it's really hit or miss on whether or not pieces are together, because like for instance we saw again with the Poison Ivy that all of her pieces were connected, so it's really nice to have on her to have separate pieces. And yes, there is confirmation that it does go all the way to the toe, so these are full and complete tights, not just partial tights. Which makes sense because you can see all of them except for the toe. So it kind of would be silly just to cut off just the toe part at that point. Most of the time when you see tights only go to their ankles, it's because they don't want them to like fray or get like stuck inside the shoes. And plus, like if you don't see them, like what's the point of having them? And I don't mind that most of the time as long as they actually go to the top of the shoe. What I hate is when they're supposed to look like they're full tights and they like only go to like here on their foot, and then the shoe like starts here, so there's this like big gap. That's the only time when it bothers me. Otherwise, as long as the illusion is pulled off, like it doesn't really matter to me. But I still appreciate, especially for restyling, because I know a lot of people want to restyle this doll, that there is a lot of possibility for that. Again, she is still available on Mattel Creations as of filming this video. So if you were hesitant on her because you didn't like the bodysuit and you want to know how much redress she had, I can promise you she has a lot of redressability. Obviously, like, it's still up to you. She's still $50 if you have the fan club, $60 if you don't. So it's still a lot. But again, for me, I view these as just kind of a single level up from like a core doll. So I don't expect too much from them. It wouldn't like be the worst if they gave her something like Julian or something like a pet to like add to this look, because like the other two kind of got like purses, or like she has like a little spider on her head, where she did not get like an accessory. Yes, she has this big back piece, but that's the equivalent of like their headpieces and stuff, and like she has a headpiece and like a chest piece, you know. So like I do think that she needed like an additional accessory, like I said, like either like a Julian or a purse or something, just to kind of like make her feel like she was coming with a little bit more. But other than that, I really appreciate the back piece. And again, I still have that gripe with the stand. I still think it would have been better if they gave her the Manster waist clip, but maybe when they did that for Gulia, people didn't understand that it was meant to be put on her hips. And so they kind of like were like, okay, well, since people kind of fussed about that, we'll just give her a regular stand because maybe people won't get it. Like, I don't know. I just know that thankfully she was able to fit on the stand anyway, but that is my biggest gripe with her, is just like, it just, because I'm an out-of-box collector, that's something that really is important to me, to be able to like display my dolls properly, especially because she really is gonna already have kind of a hard time finding a display spot just because of how like large this back piece is. But again, it's totally worth it. Absolutely gorgeous doll overall. Super happy to have a Venus like in my collection. Again, like I said, I do have this one. She still needs to get cleaned up though, so she's a little messy, but that's what happens when you have thrifted dolls. Anyway, overall, like I said, these two are kind of similar price points, similar ideas on like availability. Obviously the fan club dolls are a little bit more available. They have been. I don't remember if Gulia sold out. I think she did. But she was also the first one, so there's kind of a different kind of hype around that Gulia. Plus, like, she has a lot of like throwback details, which is kind of the idea of like this whole collection as a whole, is to really, again, throw back to their kind of core dolls, or like kind of like main dolls of theirs, and just kind of like plus them up a little bit for new generation, or same generation, but like a new generation of collecting. Does that make sense? Like, it's the same people that could have collected the first set, which I, again, don't really have much for generation 1, but kind of like just another like level up to them to make them look a little bit more adult, a little bit more mature. These are our college, Monster College instead of Monster High dolls. It's kind of silly, but I don't know. It makes me happy to think about it that way, to think of them as like a little bit more like mature adults, kind of like dressing up and, you know, kind of showing off their style even into being adults and not just when they're, you know, teenagers in high school. So, but yeah, I still think though, again, with considering them, if I think of them as both like, because again, $50 plus shipping, and then the $10 fan club, and she was 55, but no shipping. But so they're roughly around the same like cost. And maybe it's just because I'm like more of a Monster High collector than a Barbie collector, but I really do think that the Venus is a little bit more worth it. I think because of her like individual outfit pieces, as opposed to this being all one piece here. And I think there's a lot more detail in the Venus. Like, I love the like etched like extra detail up here as opposed to this just being printed on. I don't dislike this Ivy at all. Like, for a Barbie and for an Ivy doll, like, I think that she is absolutely stunning. I really love her hair, which is also funny because I also had stand issues with her because I felt like she was a little bit too tall for her stand. But anyway, I do like both of them for their intended purposes. I like them individually. But if I really had to choose just one over the other, I would probably have just gone with Venus. Thankfully, though, I don't have to choose because I have both of these beautiful girls in my collection. Again, like I said, I am more of a Monster High girly than a Barbie girly anyway, so I probably would have just gone with her because of that. But I digress. I hope you enjoyed watching as much as I did. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. As I was saying earlier, it really helps out the channel, and it really helps you if you enjoy the content. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you very soon in the next one. Bye! Make sure to stay tuned for a sneak peek of our next upcoming doll unboxing.